Let's start. Here are more than 70 attendees today, so I think it's quite a success for today. Welcome everybody for this COVID-19 and e-commerce, creating opportunities in time of crisis. I think it's a theme, a topic that is really worrying us today, and we want to share some knowledge from us, from some experts within the industry. I'm going to allow each expert to introduce themselves and start answering the first question. But first of all, I just have some quick announcement. After this session, after this webinar, you'll receive an ebook that we created with our team here in Tavano Team, where we gather some really important tactics for you, for us businesses, to try to turn this crisis into an opportunity. So after this webinar, you'll receive this ebook. And as well, this session is being recorded. So you'll receive the recorded session to share with your team. And I really encourage you to do so more people can learn about these tactics and what this great expert has have to share today. So I don't want to bother you too much with my introduction, and let's give the word to the real expert today. With us, we have today Nathan Resnick, CEO at Sourcify. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here, and hope everyone is staying safe.
Thank you. Thanks for attending and for your time. Where are you right now?
Usually I'm based in California, but right now I'm in Florida, so I'm in Tampa Bay area.
Okay, perfect. So Nathan now in Florida. And we have Chris Sugatan, the founder and CEO at Sugatan. How are you, Chris?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Great. Where are you now? Because I know you've been traveling a lot.
Yeah, well, we were actually going to move to Europe. We were in Atlanta right before Italy broke out. And we saw what was going on in Europe, and we didn't want our productivity to be impacted. So we went to Mexico. We went to Oaxaca. So right now I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico.
Okay, perfect. So yeah. Chris, right now in Oaxaca. Thank you, and thanks for your time, Chris. And the two experts from our team, Tavano Team, I want to introduce first Ignacio Horne. How are you, Ignacio?
Hey, Justin. How are you?
And where are you? Please tell the people, where are you now?
I am in Uruguay, in Cabo Polonio. It's a small town in the beach with no electricity. So everything is working with solar panels and things like that. And I'm staying here for the next maybe 50 days until all this happen.
Perfect. This is a really good touristic recommendation for everyone if you ever come to Uruguay, Sao Polonio. And finally, Diego Isola, CEO at Tavano Team. Hi, Diego.
Hey, Justin. And I was hearing Ignacio and talking about working remotely, huh? No electricity. That's awesome.
Yeah. Nowadays you can do that.
Totally. I love it. So let's start with the first question. And here to start, I ask you to please introduce shortly what you do, what your company does, so everybody can be aware from where your expertise comes from. So the first question to start this discussion today is, how do you think the COVID-19 crisis has impacted businesses worldwide? And I'm going to start maybe with Diego.
Yeah, sure. So, well, first of all, hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm super glad that we have a nice volume of attendees joining us today. Obviously, talks loud about the topic that we have today, which is very relevant. So yeah, my name is Diego Isola. I'm the president of Tavano Team. For those who don't know Tavano Team, we're an e-commerce agency. We specialize on helping NetSuite online merchants get the online presence and help them grow that e-commerce channel through our growth team. So it is this initiative actually starts from our growth club and our growth team, where we wanted to be able to share with you some recommendations, tips that we find from each one of us from our expertise area. And I really hope that you'll find all these tactics, tips, recommendations very valuable for your business, and yeah, you will take some actionable items with you. So yeah, responding to your question, and also, I forgot, I hope everyone, staying safe during all these crazy times. That is affecting us on a personal level, on a professional level. The business the uncertainty around the markets is crazy and affecting the businesses. And so yeah, what we're seeing is, and what we're reading in the news are different things. Well, news consumption grew 11 times in March, which is crazy. Obviously, it's reasonable at the same time. E-commerce grew 34% according to Forbes from the first to the second week of March. Same kind of trend according to Forbes for the social traffic. And within e-commerce, there's with business in general, obviously those who are location dependent are being hurt very bad. Now, the online retailers, the ones that are already doing e-commerce, some of them are experiencing growth in revenue. Some of them are, conversion rates are dropping, and they're hurt. The ones that are gaining more volume of orders coming is those who sell, household items, health items, medical supplies. We're talking with a client in a medical supply, and they really, the spike that they have, and they sell all this lab equipment for different industries, and I mean they're really trying to to cope with the high demand. But interesting enough, also some other companies that are selling other brands that are selling products around indoor activities, like we have a client that sell cooking accessories. They are also experiencing a high growth demand, very high growth. Another one that is they sell quilts, fabrics, and they have an elder audience, and so obviously that audience is the one that is more affected in terms of the quarantine, who are the ones who need to enforce more that quarantine. So yeah, I mean those, and also they kind of the products that they sell are kind of hobby products, it's a hobby activity as well. So they are experiencing high growth as well. So it's interesting depending on the sector, who are gaining out of this situation and who are losing very bad. There are some, again, the ones that are not selling this type of product, or household or medical or health or indoor activities, hobbies, whatever, they are being hurt. And so I think that what we're going to be sharing today, the tactics and all, will be very helpful for them. Oh, and one more thing, this talks, all this really talks about one big thing, and that is that shopping behavior has changed. I mean, it's not changing, it has changed already, and it will continue changing week after week. And the brands and us as business owners, as marketers, we really need to be monitoring that very closely. It really hit me up. This is the last, and I'll allow the other guys to jump in. Last week, my mother, 75 years old, texted me saying, "Sorry, I cannot talk to you right now. I'm working out on Instagram." So, that told me, that hit me really bad. I mean, shopping behavior is changing drastically. So yeah, that's what we're seeing from our end.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think that is a really insightful fact from your mother. It's completely changing and really, really faster than ever. What do you think, Chris, about this? What is the main impact of this crisis on businesses? And please introduce yourself at first.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Chris Dugaton. I manage an agency that is an e-commerce growth hacking agency, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We take smaller e-commerce businesses that are doing 6 figures in annual revenue, and then we'll take them to 10 million or more in a year or less. We only work with the select few businesses that we handpick that has the biggest potential to do that kind of exponential growth. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. We've only had one business fall off, and that was our high-end fashion client from Italy, who also had retail stores in terms of what they were depending on with their revenue. And what happened with them is their supply chain just went bust. So their manufacturing just stopped manufacturing essentially. And so we actually offered to stay on the account pro bono just to help them through this crisis so that they can continue to salvage and leverage and give them a lot of strategic ideas as to where the opportunities are in this space, because that's how we approach it. There's always an opportunity. There are those types of people that when they're given $100,000, they are brilliant at knowing how to allocate that $100,000. And then there are those people who know how to build a staircase to the moon with $25. I would have to say that that's us, because it requires a totally different skill set. And for us, it's not any different, and especially with the founders that we work with, because we bootstrap their growth. Because when you're starting a business and you're trying to profitably scale this, and this is inside the e-commerce context with brands, you really just have to take everything week by week and really respond to those threats that are happening on a week by week basis. So this is no different to us, in that we see that there's always an opportunity somewhere. It's just that you're being forced to change, and you really have to be able to construct your business to adapt to being flexible. And part of that is you have to distribute the decision making, typically inside a company, whether that's just you and a partner and maybe 3 other freelancers, or let's just say if you're a very small company, or if you're a bigger company, you really have to identify those leaders in your business, and you have to give them the autonomy and the restrictions to be able to make decisions on their own, because from the ground level, they see the threats that you don't. And you need to be able to give them the autonomy to respond to those threats very quickly and with a budget to work with, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to, as a company, survive. Because like Diego said, the shopping behavior does change, and you need to look at your data every last set. You need to meet with your team, and you need to look at what's the data telling us last 7 days, and how do we adapt to the next 7 days. And then you have to create profitable experiments, is what we call it, and profitable mistakes. So you just have to put, let's say you're doing like 5 experiments per week on your ads, creatives, copy, landing page, email. You actually need to triple that. So you need to go from 5 weekly tests, you need to go to 15 weekly tests. And you need to just basically design, very minimum viable experiments that give you the data to say, hey, this is going to be a potential for you. That's how you have to adapt. And that's how we've adapted inside the clients that we've worked with. And because of that, even the beauty clients that we thought were going to be massively hit from this, they actually generated another 300,000 in revenue. So they didn't this month, and they didn't get hit. And then the skincare client that we have, we generated an additional 700,000 in revenue this month from what they did last month. And so they haven't gotten hit. And food business is also scaling, so that they haven't been impacted. Beauty hasn't been impacted. Skincare hasn't been impacted yet. Alcohol, not impacted. Really, the high-end jewelry line and also the high-end fashion line, those are the ones that are being impacted the most, that we're seeing a drop in performance. But like you said, like, we're seeing everything else trend up. Now, is that going to last? We don't know. There are no answers. We're coming into a period of uncertainty, and that's why it's really, really crucial that everybody starts thinking about creating flexibility and having your team members adapt and giving them the autonomy to be able to create their own experiments on the ground level, that you're not bottlenecking those decision making, so that you can get those experiments out faster and start to understand how your customers are changing their shopping behavior and literally doing it week by week. We call this agile workflow. We've adapted the way that software is created. It's called agile, and we've done it inside like a startup environment for e-commerce brands, no joke. So that's what we're seeing on our end. That's, we're just focused on being as flexible and putting out a ton of experiments week over week profitably, and making a bunch of profitable mistakes is what we call it, and then adapting on a week over week basis. That's our only plan, and so far it's been working for us. So.
Totally. Thanks, Chris. I think it's really interesting information, and mainly about what industry that has been hit the most by this crisis. It was surprising, at least for me. But I'm going with Nathan now. But just quick comment before to the 77 attendees that are live right now. Down on your screen, there's the Q&A button. So if you have any question that you want to ask any of the industry experts, they will be addressed at the end of the session. So if you have any question, they are willing to answer it and keep talking and discussing about it. So I encourage you and invite you to write it down there in the Q&A section here in the Zoom webinar, and it will be answered later. And for our Slack, our team, our good teammate Seba is telling me that you can ask as well in YouTube, because here we are streaming it live in YouTube. So, and you can, maybe any of the attendees can send and share the link with your teammate if they want to join right now and don't go through the whole registration process in Zoom. We are in YouTube as well. So to sum up, ask any question you want, and after the session, they will be answered. Nathan, I want to listen to you. What do you think is the main impact in businesses? And please,
totally. I mean, first off, I want to encourage everyone to ask more questions, because it makes it more engaging, and that's why we're here. So for Sourcify, we focus on the supply chain. We have offices in China, Vietnam, India, and Pakistan. So we help hundreds of different e-commerce brands and retailers produce products across the world. Really the key dynamic that we're seeing with COVID-19, especially last month in February, people producing products in China probably didn't get much out of China because it was shut down. Right now, what we're seeing is China has come back online slowly but surely. The key question you've got to ask yourself here is, because the demand for medical supplies has really risen so drastically, a lot of factories that were traditionally producing fashion items or even household goods are now pivoting and producing medical supplies and equipment. And so you really need to have a discussion with your factory and ask them, are you going to continue to produce our products? Because if not, you've got to find another source. For those producing products in India, India is on a 3-week lockdown right now. There's no products coming out of India and no factories working for 3 weeks. And so it's something that you've really got to understand. And really, I think the key scenario and step that you have to take as a business owner is de-risking your supply chain. And to de-risk it, you need to diversify your supply chain. Now, it's not super easy to produce the same product in 2 different countries, but what you can do is at least have multiple suppliers that can produce that product. So never be single sourced. If you're still single sourced on any of your SKUs, I would highly recommend that you go out and start having discussions today with potential suppliers that could produce that product, because you don't know what the next 3 weeks in India are going to look like. You don't know if there's going to be a reoccurrence of this virus in China. You really need to be diversified in your supply chain right now. So that's really kind of our main focus with our customers at Sourcify. And that's what we're telling people that are producing products around the world, is diversification right now is more important than ever.
Totally. There's a lot of uncertainty here in this situation, and the supply chain is, I think, it's playing a key role in this crisis. Ignacio, it's your turn now.
Hey everyone, as Justin said, my name is Ignacio. and I have been working in Google Ads and in e-commerce business for the last 9 years. And I will be talking about Google and how Google is changing right now with all this crisis. As you already know, Google is the largest engine. So the way people interact with Google, what they search for, and how they do it provides a lot of information about markets and their demand. As Google is one of the biggest tools for digital advertising, analyzing the way companies advertise on Google, we can get a lot of information about those industries and their supply. In times like this, it's really important to analyze consumer and industry behavior. As Chris says, we need to be on top of those things and those changes and create experiments and try new things to be on top of everything and try to at least maintain the revenue of all the company. I work as a PPC consultant at Tavano and Tavano Team, and also I have another clients in the United States, Europe, and Mexico and Latin America. And it depends on how things are changing on each zone and the changes that we need to do in real time to try to keep the revenue or try to be at least prepared for next weeks. In Google, in general, Google searches are maintaining the total volume, but in Google Ads, the ad impressions for different advertising are decreasing among different platforms. On average, Google searches in ads, not in all Google, just in Google Ads, decreased 20%. Google Shopping decreased the impressions 15%. The partner search decreased 4%. And Bing, that is another tool that is really important in the United States, it decreased the impressions 5%. So this means that people have shifted the previous interest into other information, but people are still searching. In Asian, probably because users are looking for different signals, conversion rates have dropped 21% on Google Ads, reflecting that purchase intent is also decreasing.
Wow.
However, as people are spending more time at home and looking for home entertainment, our impressions are increasing in other platforms that we need to take a look at. For example, in Google Display, impressions have increased 13% and YouTube ads increased 21%. So this can actually be a huge opportunity for the next days. Overall, most of advertising or most of my clients are doing right now is to keep their budget efficient. So this means today are doing brand campaigns and display remarketing. And this is fine, and we can maintain our revenue doing this, but there are opportunities and we need to find them. This is something that Chris already said, but I will show a few industries that decreased in performance and a few that increased in performance during this time. As you already know, first, travel and tourism. With all borders closed, this industry decreased in that impressions 40% on average. For restaurants and bar, quality is hitting really hard. And everybody's at home right now, so the ad impressions decreased 18% and conversion rate 59%. However, they are shifting the service to delivery and pickup, so this is helping to save actually lives for those businesses. Live entertainment have reduced 24%, the impressions and conversion rate fallen 30%. Okay, this means like movie theaters or those type of things, not Netflix, of course, as you already know. And also there are two niches that decreased the impressions and conversion that are sport and fitness, of course, like gyms and things like that. There are exemptions for like fitness teachers that are doing virtual classes, and also fitness home equipment due to that everybody is doing home, it's gym at work, also increased the home equipment revenue. And fifth and last, building and constructions. Of course, that all the processes are beginning to fall out or get delayed, so prospective clients are becoming less likely to convert. So ad impressions in this case have fallen 20%, a conversion rate 45%. There are other industries that are doing so much better right now. Okay, there are industries that we could anticipate that we are going to have a lift on revenue, such as health and medical, as Chris said before, that had an increase on online sales and conversion rate of more than 60%. On-demand media has skyrocketed and doubled the conversions in the past few weeks. Personal care, also Chris said this, I was expecting that the category grew in the last week, not only because soap and hand sanitizer, but also increased beauty products. I mean, this last called my attention, but to me, it was more surprising that in time of crisis, we are seeing the best on people, as non-profit and charities have grown over 20% on impressions and conversions. Also, according to different sources, office supplies and financial advice are two categories that have increased conversion rates and revenue. As people is working remote, office supplies increases conversion by 90%. It's a lot. And in finance, yeah, it is. And in finance, users are searching for experience and help. And in industry that normally has some of the most expensive keywords, right now there are a lot of opportunities for high converting keywords with lower CPCs. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that makes sense, but I think that there are some interesting opportunities as well over there, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be paid. Yeah, we need to be paid.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we need to pay real attention to the behavior in real time and try to find opportunities for each business. I know that each business will be different, but you need to be real attention on all of these stages in real time.
Diego, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that, obviously we are in a huge recession or we're about to face a huge recession for, many companies are feeling it that way and they will be feeling it that way in some cases. Some others, as Chris and Ignacio are saying, is not the case. But the truth is that, and I think what we all need to understand, one of the things that we need to understand is, if business today are in a survival mode, right, which they are, the only way that they will survive is with customers, right? And if otherwise they will disappear, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that it is important to keep looking after attracting customers, even though our natural instinct might say, paralyze and stop all and cut everything. So what I'm saying is that it's time to re-strategize the ad spending, right? And see what is, for some companies, understand what is relevant now for their consumers that probably wasn't the case before. But I think it's important for us to understand that the opportunity comes when we understand that if we need to survive and our business will need to survive, for those who are not doing good right now, is because we're going to be able to get customers and we're going to be able to get incoming orders, right? I know it's somehow obvious, but not so much when the panic comes in, right?
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to add that to what Chris and Ignacio was saying.
Yeah, no, totally. And Chris, what do you think about this?
You really just have to adapt. I actually went through a process of looking at the businesses that survived and then thrived during the the 2008 recession in the US and then the Great Depression. And these very established businesses, they adapted, and it's very applicable to a lot of the e-commerce businesses. Some of our, clients right now whose average order value is $75 plus. For example, we're consulting them to come up with a lower priced product, for example, or to diversify their product range. Like Nathan was saying, you really want to start to think about diversifying your risk. There's one question in the Q&A that asks about, seeing a big decrease in traffic right now due to businesses being closed. You need to shift your business to an info product business, for example, because, to advise these businesses, if you're doing B2B, because they're going to hold on to that money. They don't have a lot of money, but they're going to look into learning, right? So you need to start shifting your product line to be to think more about how are people going to, for example, like an ad campaign. There's another question about ads, campaigns. Our ads right now, we're shifting our ad creation, which we do video ads and graphic ads, to show how the product is actually being used at home. We have a protein coffee client, for example, and we used to show the protein coffee going to the gym with the protein coffee, but now we're like, oh, look at it, it's stocked up in your pantry, and now you can have breakfast and protein in one for at home. So you have to really adapt to the time, and just make sure you don't create campaigns that it takes 6 weeks for execution and to see the results. You really have to think of tests that your team or yourself can produce in 2 to 3 days, less than 1 week, and put it out there and test it for 2 days. And in 2 days, you will see your results of those tests, and then you'll know, okay, I can build it out. So don't focus on perfect, just focus on getting something out there that's good enough just to test the response of the demographic. You also want to start to pool your customers. You want to pool them inside a private Facebook group, for example, which is what we do to increase the retention rate, the repeat customer rate month over month. You want them to rally around a mission that is very relevant to your product, and you want them to have a common goal together, because that keeps them engaged with your brand. It keeps your brand relevant to what's happening right now, and it keeps your brand top of mind, because a lot of businesses are falling out. You know, just like what Ignacio is seeing in terms of CPMs on Facebook ads, we're seeing a big decrease in CPMs, about a 45% decrease all across the board. And that's really because a lot of big spenders, these big businesses who are spending big money on Facebook ads, they're falling back. Also, it's just that your audience is widening too. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm not even joking, but you're not going to survive if you don't adapt. And if you don't know how to make the shift, and you really have to think about how to adapt and design a system where your business is putting out a lot of experiments and tests. It's the only way you're going to survive. And we're not looking to survive, we're looking to thrive, you know, and
totally.
that's the way that you're going to thrive. Yeah.
Totally. I want to ask the next question. I think you already started talking about this, because each expert here in the webinar, they are focused on looking for solutions and sharing tactics and new ideas, and I think that is great. But Nathan, what do you think are the some concrete actions that businesses can take now to transform this crisis into an opportunity?
Definitely. I mean, I think first off, like Chris was saying, you've got to look at your SKUs and see, you know, where they're coming in from a price point perspective. I think in today's world, there's going to be more and more deal shoppers. And so if you can create a offering that is really tailored and targeted to these kind of first-time buyers at your e-commerce store, it's going to really have a big impact over time, because you can start increasing LTV as you sell them other products through your e-commerce store. So I think that's number one. And number two comes down to diversification and having a conversation with your supplier. You know, have you asked your supplier, are they considering producing medical products or medical supplies? And if they are, how is that going to affect your production? And number, three, I would say, is really understanding what their lead time looks like. You know, with China being shut down for pretty much all of February and now just starting to slowly pick back up, you've got to ask them, well, what does my lead time actually look like for the future? You know, if you typically spend, 40 days producing my product, is it now going to be 60? Or all your staff members return to the factory? Really have an understanding of what their, staff looks like today. I mean, are they fully staffed? Are they back up to 100%, output? What does that look like from a factory standpoint? And that will really help you de-risk and understand your supply chain. And last but not least, I would say, start looking to diversify your supply chain in other countries. Don't just look in China, look across Asia. There's a lot of options in India, Vietnam, Pakistan, depending on the product category you're in.
Oh, interesting recommendation, I think, for everyone. Diego, any concrete action that you want to share with the attendees?
Well, yeah. So, for example, in the category of bringing new customers in, there's a few opportunities that we have there. So, for example, we know that Amazon now, because of they have restrictions with the fulfillment and crunch in terms of all the first essential products that they are prioritizing and fulfilling all those orders. For example, Prime Amazon members are expecting a 1 month time delay on their orders. Which we can take it as an opportunity, for brands that want to target that audience and be able to, if they have the product, they have the supply chain, the supply line of products to sell those products to them. At the same time, because of that, Amazon also is playing on another place, which is Google Shopping. Amazon has been a strong Google Shopping beater. which was very hard to compete sometimes with Amazon because they were beating really, really strong. And now they're not, just because of the fact that, again, they are putting all their focus, all their concentrations on these other type of products. So there's an opportunity there as well. YouTube traffic has increased 10 times. YouTube traffic has increased 10 times. So everyone that, we're consuming a lot of video, and there's all these brands that can think about what relates to them in terms of video content. So for example, if you're a sports outwear product or gear or whatever, and you have, in March, there's the March Madness, right? So all the NCAA college basketball, and now it's not happening. But all those fans of basketball are there. And now you have they're there and they're consuming. Now they're going into checking the YouTube videos of basketball and basketball related content. And never before, I think, you had all that audience, such a large share of your target audience concentrated. I think Chris was saying that, concentrated in the same place. So it's a good opportunity also to strategize an ad spending on a market campaign, YouTube campaign on YouTube. Then other things that I can think of, well, retargeting, retarget like crazy. It's sometimes, customers are not maybe just now, depending on the type of product that you have. So if you have a product that is relevant to the needs right now, then go strong on the product branding, right, on the ad. Now, if on the product campaign. So if it's not, then just maybe you want to do branding campaigns that express a more empathic message to the customer and to, with the issues that they're facing right now, that express the brand core values. That's also something to take in place together with that retargeting, right? So you might want to open the window of the retargeting campaigns, give more time, as maybe now they're not so sure about the purchase decision, but they might be in the next weeks or so. And there's one that I think we didn't talk about when we went through all the things that are going on, which is the huge spike on mobile traffic, right? So Vodafone, the telecommunications company, had said that in some markets the data usage of mobile has increased up to 50%. We all know that we are more with our phones more than before, at least is my case and the ones that I see around. So the chances that, people will land on their mobile devices, when they go to your website, they will land from the mobile devices, is much higher than before. And so it's not just now about having a mobile-friendly website. You need to have a website that is highly optimized for conversion, right? So also something to really, put work there right now because of all these new trends.
Yeah, totally. And I think you learned that from the mobile usage from your mother, right?
That's definitely, that hit me hard.
Totally. Yeah, totally. That's I think that there are many key factors over there to take into account. And Ignacio, what do you have to say from the great Cabo Polonio? What concrete actions can businesses take?
Well, firstly, you need to look at your own business opportunity. As we already know, in every time of crisis, there are opportunities. Bear in mind that although people are searching less, they are still searching. And although people are buying less, they are still buying. And therefore, as it was said before, it is critical to fully optimize your business e-commerce operation. I know this is basic, but it's not that basic. As right now, your biggest opportunity is there. This means prepare for online sales, online delivery, and online customer service. This last, for me at least, is really important for business that decrease performance in the last day, because through different means, such as phone calls, leads, real-time website chats, you can work on a better user experience. And right now, maybe your company is decreasing sales, and that is normal in crisis. But the user experience for the next few weeks, it will be really important. Secondly, bear in mind that like every crisis, this one too shall pass. If the short terms look hopeless, you can still think and work for the long term. Okay, and last but not least, try to contribute with the cause if you can, and why not benefit from this? So I want to share 2 examples of companies that they're boosting their brand awareness by collaborating for better social distancing experience. One of them, maybe we can keep doing what we were doing before and maybe increase the revenue, but we say to go in other ways. Caribou is an US-based company that is a mobile app for parents and grandparents to make video calls with their kids. The difference with other video calls and apps is that with Caribou, you can read, draw, color, and play together while you are in the video call. In general, and before, Caribou is free to download, but its contents are subscription-based. However, after the coronavirus outbreak, the app has set up free and limited access to all its content to help improve family communications through social distancing. Right now, we are not only buying traffic on the US, but also we started with campaigns worldwide on Google, Facebook, Apple, and Bing. Although these actions will not generate profits in the short term, Caribou is boosting its brand awareness and app install volume, while also collecting a lot of data to profit from later. So in this case, as I said before, we are not doing any review right now, but we are spending more money than before to have more clients in the future. Okay, and so we can at some point we will start to charge the subscription again. Okay, for all the clients that download the campaigns these days. Other example that I want to show is Passline. Passline is a Latin America-based company that we have presence in 9 markets here in Latin America, and it's a website where events producers can sell their tickets online. Okay, as you already know, all physical events being canceled these days. I know that most of you are in the United States, but here in Latin America it's the same. Okay, people is at home, so all the events are canceling. So Passline reinvented itself to offer access tickets to live streaming events. Artists and producers can offer tickets to the live streaming on YouTube, Vimeo, and Twitch, and ticket revenue can either benefit the artist or a non-profit organizations chosen by the event creators, and tickets can also be free. This initiative don't have any revenue for us, of course, but it supports home entertainment, local artist income, and non-profit funding. And Passline does not charge for the service right now, but benefit from a higher brand awareness and improved corporate image can help for the future.
Interesting. I didn't know that one from Passline. Yeah, it's right. I think it's a huge trend that we have seen today. The past day of the live event from artists. I think it's an interesting trend that has been going on. Thanks, Ignacio. And Chris, what concrete actions do you have to share with us? Do you think might be helpful for the attendees?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things. The first thing you really need to understand, I'm talking about in the context of an e-commerce business, you really need to understand your levers that you can pull at any given time. Your levers in an e-commerce business is going to be your email list, right? Your customer list, that's a lever, because as soon as you put out a 20% off email, that's going to generate revenue. And that's a lever that you can literally pull at any time. The other lever is your cost per acquisition for new customers coming in. That's a lever that you can pull. And that's through your ads or influencer marketing, whatever it is. And then the other one is your conversion rate on your website. You need to basically do an analysis of those different levers that you have, because when you understand those different levers, you understand what you can actually control now and change now. So if you look at your cost per acquisition, can you actually, is that trending up? And what's it going to take for that to stay stable, right? When you think about the action that you need to do right now, if you know that it's going to take you like 2 months to stabilize that cost per acquisition, you need to walk away from that. Your email list is right now. You have like a email list that you can do a 20% off. That'll generate cash flow to you right now if you do a 20% off. Usually email is a lever that we use to be like, oh shit, you know, we don't have any other levers to pull for this week. Let's just do a 20% off, and that'll generate cash flow for you if you need cash flow. Conversion rate. Typically, we do strategies like people are looking for deals. So you want to do, like, if you don't have like any of those apps that in Shopify, like spin the wheel for a discount, if you don't have that, you know, that to offer at the top of the funnel for full traffic coming into your website right now, implement those, because you're going to increase your conversion rate. What you're looking for is what area of your business do you know you need to focus on this week, or right now, or next week, and work on optimizing. If you know that in your business, it's not looking good, everything is decreasing, you really need to start thinking about how to, you know, raising money or raising loans. You need to start getting some capital to keep your business afloat. And you have to keep in mind that recessions last for 12 to 18 months. Okay, so you have to raise, or you have to have some kind of capital plan to be able to continue sustaining your business for at least another 12 months. And if not, then don't get discouraged. There are other opportunities that you can capitalize on. Like Nathan was saying, medical supplies is one. You need to pivot and you need to shift. You need to make that adjustment. And the actionable literally today is do an analysis of last week. Look at the data, last 7 days. And then tomorrow, meet with your team, discuss, and you need to discuss what are your biggest threats currently, right? And when you've done the analysis of what levers you know you can and can't pull, you need to have your team then respond to that threat and come up with those ideas to respond to the threat. And then you'll have your actionable for the next 7 days. So you need to meet with your team on a weekly basis if you're not already, and you need to get their ideas about how to respond to the threat. And you need to be very clear on what those actionables are for the next 7 days to respond to that threat, and keep doing that until you see the optimization, until you see things working. Those are, you know, that's something that I feel like you guys can, you know, do right now, essentially.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Chris. We have many questions, and I'm gonna thank the audience that are writing it here in Zoom, the Q&A, and we have another question in the YouTube channel, in our YouTube channel. Let's answer some of those. And I want to start with this one from our good friend Jennifer Hughley. And I think, Nathan, can you help us with this one to address this? She said, is there any master cross-reference list that shows what manufacturers are switching shears or model to produce medical products on an emergency basis? And then she developed the question, and who is the managing authority on helping manufacturers switching their gears, production lines, new product supply sources, etc., and so on?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's really on a manufacturer by manufacturer basis. You know, it's going to depend on what the factory decides themselves. So that's why it's really important to have a conversation with your factory to understand where their thought process is at, if they're going to shift production to focus on medical supplies. So I would ask your factory today.
Perfect. Thanks, Nathan. And I have here in YouTube one question, and maybe Chris, could you help us with this one? And maybe Ignacio as well. How do you strike the balance of pushing out more marketing campaign versus not flooding your customer with too much content? It seems that everyone is getting information from everywhere right now. How do you find that balance?
So there's two interpretations there. How do you stand out from everybody else that's bringing up COVID-19 in your email marketing? I think a really personal note from the founder always stands out. So literally your subject headline is, I'm the CEO and I care about you. I'm the founder and I care about your safety, rather than the business. You know, here's how the business is responding to COVID-19. It really needs to be a letter from the founder. I think that personalization is really crucial and important for you to stand out from that type of messaging. And if you're, you know, sending out messaging as the business, I really do you need to start making it personal. So highlight the team, you know, like, for example, this is what the team is doing. This is what the CEO is doing. Make it really intimate and personal, and make that personal connection. That's going to be a really good marketing move. In terms of the frequency, I think is maybe the other way that you could interpret this question. In terms of the frequency and over inundating them with sales or anything like that, I would say, you know, even do it once every 10 days, but segment your audiences in your email list. So don't do it for those who took advantage of the last email campaign or email sale. You should have an opt-in pop-up on your page or whatever, the spin the wheel thing where people put in their list. If you don't, you need to do that now. And that way you're going to increase the amount of people that you're going to do email marketing to, and you'll always have a top of funnel email list to sell to, because most of the time they're not going to sell. They're not going to buy right now because everybody's sort of hoarding their money, and they're being selective with where they're going to allocate their money to. And so you want to save it they're saving it for your sale. Everybody knows e-commerce businesses does sale. So just do it every 10 days. Don't do it more than that. And just make sure you segment that audience who have bought previously.
Perfect, thanks. And I have one last question because we are running out of time, and maybe Diego could help us with this one. It's from David. Do you think we can expect any of these new trends to continue after the disaster, or taper off back to normal over time? And he said, as an example, increase mobile usage.
Yeah, I think that you know, I think that there's stages on this whole pandemic effects, and there's the panicking, freezing, paralyzing stage that we just went through in a couple of weeks ago, and still I think my belief is that we're going now to the second phase, but just you can see that on the markets, you know, financial markets. I mean, they dropped dramatically and now they're starting to climb a little bit. Obviously, Trump package helped a lot, but in any case, what I'm saying is that after that, e-commerce is going to the place that e-commerce is now taken. You will not be able to take that away, because adoption of e-commerce is growing. So whether that is the mobile device, purchasing from a mobile device, or purchasing from the desktop, there's many trends that right now are happening that are here to stay. That's what I understand. Obviously, you know, there are a lot of uncertainties about how long each stage will flow. But in any case, to me, it's important that the customer, that you are always, and go back to what Chris was saying, just you know, have short-term strategies in place to be able to really quickly adapt. You want to be creative with your team, be quickly adapt to things that are happening week after week. One thing that I would also encourage a lot is to do qualitative research. I think now is the time to do qualitative research more than a quantitative research, which is fine. But qualitative research, going to your customers, asking them, you know, through interviews or surveys or polls, but talking directly with the customers, understanding what is that is blocking them from purchasing from you. What are their concerns as part of the ordering experience? A lot of information that you can use then and insert it on the website, insert that message on the website throughout the shopping experience, and even maybe in the digital marketing campaigns. We can learn a lot about what our customers are facing right now, because we want to also be able, because also another very good insight that they can give you is that is not so related about the fears or something blocking them about purchasing a product, is about what is relevant, what product or what offer is relevant for them now, you know, and that can be totally transformative for a business. Once you understand that, you quickly adapt and react, and that's what, in line with what Chris was saying, week after week, be able to pivot the strategy.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Diego. And I think most of the question has been answered, maybe now directly or during the webinar. We are arriving to the end of this session. I don't know, any of you, Diego, Ignacio, Chris, Nathan, any final thought that you want to share with the audience?
just thank you for putting this together, Justin and Diego and Ignacio. I think it's really important that you guys really take the time to really think about this, be creative, and like Diego said, you need to reposition your fear and just know that there is opportunity. And when you switch that, we switch to that kind of mindset, your brain will start to automatically look for those opportunities and pick up on those opportunities.
Totally.
From my side,
go ahead.
Okay, from my side, actually, I just want to say 3 opportunities that can be essential to grow your business right now. As we say before, display on YouTube increased the impressions, so we need to be there. So we need to create different campaigns, not only prospective, also remarketing. Just adjust your communication, as Chris said before, for each different audiences according to the level in the conversion funnel. This is really important. Okay. I say before that generic campaigns, companies are decreasing the budget, so this can actually be an opportunity. So don't be afraid to be on those, to create those type of campaigns for generic terms. So just try to be specific and maybe use purchase intent in those keywords. And last, that I want to say that is really important, at least for me, and work really well. Try to use smart bidding. Things are changing really quickly right now, and smart bidding can help to will take decisions and change bids in real time. And time of changing that search terms are changing a lot. Okay, people is decreasing budget or increasing budget or posting campaigns. Smart bidding can help a lot in these times.
Perfect. Great tips, Ignacio. Thank you. Nathan, any final thoughts? I want to hear your voice for last time there from Florida.
If I was gonna end, with one word, I would say diversify. Right now, it's just extremely important to de-risk your supply chain and be able to produce your products around the world. So ask your factories today what's going on and see if there's going to be any delays with lead time, and also try to figure out what other factories can produce your products.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think it has been noted by all the attendees. Diego, any comment? I think
just want to thank all the panelists for being so kind to join us today and help all our audience. Thank the audience, and I hope we deliver some good insights for you, some good tips and actions to follow. And thank you, Justin, for organizing this.
Thank you for your time. I think it's been a pleasure for listening to you. You're the expert, and I think the attendees and the businesses that they're going to see this webinar, they're going to be really benefiting from your tips, from your recommendations. So thank you. As I said, you're going to receive, all the attendees, our ebook, this recorded session. So I encourage you to share it with your team, to any people that you think it might be helpful. And we're here for you if you need any help and to discuss any of these tactics or idea. Just contact us. And thank you for the time, and be safe, please.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.